Huh? First clap hands for your souls. Uganda belongs to you. These other ones who are claiming it, they will go and they will leave it for you and your generations. Yeah? You're most welcome for today. We are going to talk about something that I know all of you are familiar with. I think you have even told so many other people about it. And so what we shall do today is to just iron out a few things about it and maybe go beyond it and see what is behind the food pyramid. Yeah? The food pyramid. I know you have encountered this so many times, especially for those who have been in the field of wellness, nutrition and supplementation. You know about this, right? Yeah. So, the food pyramid, we are adding that word health, the health food pyramid. Now, the food pyramid, for so many, I don't think as Uganda as a country, Uganda as a country, we may not be having ours that is designed or tailored to the situation of Uganda. But so many countries have their food pyramids. So many countries have their food pyramids. And their food pyramids will communicate something about their longevity, their lifespan. Yeah? If you go to countries like Japan, countries like Slovenia, when you look at their food pyramid, it will communicate much about their people. If you go to America, you look at the food pyramid, it will communicate much. There is what they call USDA, United States Drug and that. They have a food pyramid. When you look at it, it will communicate. However, there is, as we shall see when we go ahead there are challenges around the food pyramid. Yeah? And there is the ideal that we are trying to adopt. Because the food pyramid is general. That's one thing you should know. The food pyramid is general. What do I mean when I say it is general? It is based on an assumption that everyone at their stage, they all need to follow this in those steps. From down to above, or down from bottom to top. Bottom, as you see that the bottom will be wider from one corner to the other, it means those are things that you should take in plenty. As you go up, like it goes narrowing, those are things that you need in less amounts. That is the science, or that is the basis. But however, like I have said, it has limitations because it is general. General meaning it is an assumption that I should follow this. Even maybe a child of 2 years, they should feed them following this. Even an elder of 90 years, they should feed them following this, which may not be true. You get it? And then there are other factors, of course. For example, if maybe we are talking about someone who has a heart disease, who has a kidney disease, it may not necessarily be this. Things will change. So, to begin with, the first note is that this food pyramid is general. However, it informs us a lot. Yeah? We are going to see. So, those are simple definitions, right? Yeah. Simple definition of what could be the food pyramid. Like we have seen, it is showing a variety of different food groups arranged from those that you should eat much those that you should eat. I'm using the words eat sparingly, then eat most sparingly. It means you eat, the Baganda would use the word ngawerekeramu. Yeah? Then there are those that you eat anyhowly, as you want, beginning from the base to the top. Now, this food pyramid is the one that currently is stipulated by the World Health Organization. Now, the World Health Organization, for it is telling us that at the top there is where we are going to have that yellow dot is the fat. We are having those two sorts of structures up above there. So fat can be naturally occurring. Naturally occurring, it means you can eat it from the foods you're eating. It could be the meat, it could be the chicken, it could be, then it could be added. Added, you can find it in baked pastas, baked stuff, yeah? Or baked stuffs. Most of them today, they have added fat. Then sugars. Sugars with that car, it's actually is facing down. Sugars, for them, we are talking about the added. We are not talking about the natural occurring. Natural occurring, you find them in fruits and vegetables there. But you're talking about the added. Now, added, we know where they are added. They are added in drinks. They are added in baked stuff. Yeah? So, those things above there, they are things that you should eat sparingly. Now, still on top of that pyramid, there are things we don't talk about, but some of them should be above there. Currently, the World Health will not talk about it, but some pyramids you'll come across, for example, they will talk about wine. Yeah? They will talk about wine and they will tell you some red wine sparingly. So meaning it should also be here. Yeah? But for World Health Organization, like I told you here some time back, for it washed its hands on alcohol and said it doesn't matter which type of alcohol and it doesn't matter the amount. Whatever you're taking is not good for your health. Yeah? That is according to World Health Organization. But like I've said, some countries, their pyramids will tell you that red wine, small amounts is okay. I'm yet to hear what our Ugandan pyramid will be saying. Yes? Whether it will say 5 bottles of beer every day, and they say that they collect much taxes from it. That is the reason why they cannot regulate alcohol. Okay. So, sparingly, you can add alcohol there. Of course, when you say sugars added, then we have already mentioned all those so-called soft drinks. Yeah? Soft drinks, you can mention them, sodas, all those juices that are manufactured are all above there because they have sugars which are added. So all of that belongs to that category. Yeah? When we talk about fats and oils, by simple definition, we normally say these ones are solid, these ones are liquid. Yeah? So here we may have those blue bands. Yeah? Which other ones are on market? Yes? Prestige. Then the oils. or cooking oils, like you know them, or mention them, or cooking oils. So those ones we are using sparingly. There is sweets. Now all of them, all the sweets you can know, all the sweets. And when you're talking about sweets, then we shall also talk about gums, those chewing gums. By the way, I don't know if anyone of you saw a recent study that was talked about this year. I think it was around April, about chewing gums. That for you who chew gums, these release microplastics from gums you chew. Whether it is the local one we used to chew when we are young, the so-called ball gum, whether it is the PK, any type of gum you're chewing, it releases microplastics. And then those microplastics are the ones that are responsible for what? They are part of those carcinogens, or cancer causing. I know there are some people here who like chewing. It is a lifestyle, and it gives them steadiness. Wherever they are chewing, and it is grass. Yes, I know they are there. If you are there chewing, so all of those sparingly. Now, when it comes now to chewing gum, some of these things, it's no longer about sparing, depending on the status you are in. For example, if you're already overweight, I don't think that we should be having a discussion about using sugar sparingly. Yeah? About using sugar sparingly, that one should be out. For other things like fats and oils, these ones, they are needed. They are needed in the body. The body needs them. And we're going to talk about that somewhere. That when we say sparingly, or sometimes when we say some of these things are bad, it's not that you do not need them. Some you need them, but they are good sources. For example, fats. We shall see good sources of fats and oils. And still, even when they are good sources, you still have to use sparingly. We are going down. The other second, rather on this pyramid, is talking about meat, poultry, fish. These are basically protein, or what we call the bodybuilding foods. Some pyramids of other countries, like you may find out, will go ahead and separate these two. Yeah? They may separate these two. And probably they're going to show you that you need, let's say, milk and eggs, raw, and then this one a little bit above. Meaning, and then they go ahead and mention, and they say that is so much important for children 5 years to around 18 years. That age needs much of, they would need poultry, that is eggs, and then milk and its products, much more around this age. You remember the other time we were talking about the minister who was complaining, saying that for them, their people, his people, their women are fat because they don't take milk, that they are nurtureless. Now, this is where the science comes in. Children 5 to 18 years, milk and its products, that means yogurt, whether you're talking bongo, whether it is real milk, for them, they need much of it around this age for 2 reasons. Number one, milk is highly concentrated with calcium, and so it is going to help them elongate their bones. It's going to help their bones grow taller. That's why I told you, it doesn't matter whether in your family you've been as vertically challenged like me, you will produce children who are tall. Because if at this point you feed them with much milk, the likelihood is there. Same thing with the body shapes. Now, I am going to sound controversial here, but listen carefully. Milk, and I will give you the evidence. Milk is not responsible for those people you find maybe they have grown shapeless and they have berries and all that. It is not responsible for the berry fat. Its fat deposition has areas it deposits, especially around the gluteal or the butts, the legs, and the arms. That is why if you see those Bahima who take much milk, you may find when he or she is very tiny, but the other parts are contrary to the fat that you're going to get from processed grains and meats. Now, for this fat, the fat that you get after being converted from processed grains and meats, for it is going to go and deposit itself around what we call the mesentery, around the intestines. Yeah? It's going to deposit itself around the intestines. Then you're going to find yourself, of course, with too much abdominal fat, yeah, which is actually the most dangerous one. Even other fats that will maybe accumulate around the arms and the legs and all of that are dangerous. But most dangerous fat is the one that accumulates around the mesentery or around the abdomen. Because when it accumulates around the abdomen, it puts at risk things like heart, liver, kidneys, because it is going to congest them and their blood vessels. Of course, nuts. The nuts group, we know them. G-nuts, brown nuts, the almonds, the cashew nuts, the sesame, all of those are under that group. Poultry, fish, dry beans, that we know, right? So all of those are supposed to be at that level. Then we go down. Fruits, vegetables, stroke greens should be second most eaten. 2 to 4 servings. The other one was 2 to 3 servings. Yeah? Now, I know at one point we have talked about actually having these as the most on your plate. Yeah? And we shall see that down. Fruits and vegetables. Some pyramids, like I told you, are going to divide this one also into 2, where they will put fruits on their own and also vegetables on their own. But the science there is that they are the second most needed in our bodies. But remember, I told you this is general. It's not for every. So, if you come across an individual and you're guiding them, you need to understand what kind of a person before you use this to guide them on how to eat. Yes? I will show you what would be the most preferred to guide someone. Let's go down and talk about this. Now, I told you that this is World Health Organization, yeah? And if you look at this and imagine someone who drew this, yes? Disclaimer, it is not me who drew this. I just uploaded it like the way it is. But if it was me drawing this here, guess what I would put? I would have put for you Irish potato. I would have put for you matoke. I would have put for you yam. I would have put for you sweet potato. I would have put barugu. I would have put for you cassava. I would have put for you pumpkin. You get it? Because those belong to that category. Yeah? They belong to that category. I would have put for you maize as the whole. Yeah? I would have probably indicated millet there. Yes? But because someone who drew this, whether he was seated in Geneva at the office of the UN office where we have World Health Organization, they have never encountered them. For them, what they know is they eat macaron. Yes? They know bread. Okay, for bread it can be whole grain. Yeah? For bread it can be whole grain, and that is okay. So that is what they literally know. That's why I told you the best should be food pyramids for educational purposes should be tailored to country basis and bringing out, trying to capture at least all different cultures. Because at least we know when we stretch to the west, there are people who eat matoke. Those who don't eat matoke, maybe they eat sweet potato and cassava, or Irish. We come this side, there are those who eat also matoke, cassava. We all are along that line, right? Now, this tells us that those should be the foods that we should eat most. But like I've said, this is general, right? You remember the phenomenon I gave here of a building like this one here, that it reaches at a time when all it needs is just all it needs is water to come and clean it around, or maybe some paint where there is a scratch. Yeah? You remember that phenomenon? So, this, like I've told you, you're going to meet someone who is probably trying to cut weight. Yeah? And then you're giving them Trimuton. And then when you're giving them Trimuton, they ask you on how they can eat for them to aid their weight reduction. You're not going to pull out this food pyramid to teach them. You get it? Because this is not individualized. Yeah, it's general. And at that point, what you're looking out is someone stayed before you is an individual, and you need to guide them according to, number one, you have to consider their cultural difference. That is always key when you're going to counsel anyone on anything, by the way, leave alone on nutrition. Because you're not going to find someone who is from Acholi and you're telling them, you see, you can eat matoke when they don't eat matoke. You have to consider that. Yes? So, let's move forward. So, I have already explained much of this, right? That the base, which we saw this one here, it has grains like bread, rice, maize. Now, you don't have to forget this. It should be unprocessed grains. Very important. Unprocessed. If it is maize, it should be the other number. I think it is number 5, right? If it is wheat, it should be as it was harvested, not processed. You get it? If it is rice, we advise the brown rice. It is the one that normally is, which is not highly processed. But that is it. Vegetables, I think we can't explain more about this. Of course, for grains, we are looking at the source of carbohydrates. Vegetables, they provide for us vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Some of you like juices. If you take juice, you're likely to miss out on many minerals and fiber. because that part that they throw away from the fruit after making juice is the fiber. That one you have roasted completely. Even many minerals found in those fruits and vegetables are attached to that fiber. So as you enjoy the juice, then you're missing out on the fiber, you're missing out on the minerals. We need the fiber for our gut health. We need the minerals, of course, for our body to function smoothly. Proteins, meat, beans, we already know this, and we have talked about this several times, that it is helping us on building the body tissues. Fats, oils, then sweets, they help us to provide energy, but like we said, we should limit them. Actually, for sweets, it is only and only if probably you are somewhere where you can't access food. You should only have these sweets maybe as an emergency. And probably, let's say you're traveling or you have gone on a journey, or you are in the field and you cannot access food, and probably you're working, then you need something to give you energy. That's when you can take a sweet. So it should be a one-off, not to be there and probably you have it at home. Yeah? Let me remind you this. We talked about it, I think, one time, and we have never talked about it. But I need to remind you. There is what we call willpower. Then default environment. What do I mean? These two, willpower versus default environment. Many of us, our willpower is below average. It is less than 50%. What does that mean? That if you have a soda at home, the likelihood is that you cannot control yourself from taking it. No matter how bad you think about it, that the soda is bad, the likelihood is that you will still take it. The willpower is below 50%. So what can work for most of us, and what I advise you to even advise your clients, is that they should depend much on this default environment. What does that mean? It means that if you know that you don't want a soda, then don't get closer to it. You get it? It should not be part of those things that you're going to purchase into the house. And I advised that for you to be able to achieve setting a default environment for yourself, is that when you're going to purchase things in the market or in the supermarket, don't go to shop when you are hungry. Don't go to shop when you are. The likelihood is that you're going to make mistakes when you go to shop when you're hungry. You live here, you didn't even have lunch, you had many clients to meet, you didn't have lunch, and then you think about going and shopping food for home. The likelihood is that you're going to go, your mind tells you that you must eat on everything. Even when you go to a restaurant at that point, the likelihood is that you're going to say, Mere Yona. Because even when you feel like they are going to give you only matoke and maybe pumpkin, you feel like, this is not enough. The mind tells you that there is a lot you need. But guess what? If you first stepped down there, bought a yogurt, yeah? Or let's leave a yogurt. If you went and first got 2 yellow bananas, Bogoya, which can be just 500, and you get a bottle of Nirvana water, which can also be 500. You take these two, yeah, before you walk into a restaurant. Trust me, you are strong enough to make a decision. Yeah? You're strong enough to make a decision. This is the same thing that faces our Ugandans when it comes to politics. When you're completely poor, you don't have anything in the pocket. Even when they give you 2,000, 2K on a line, you will change your mind. I've seen people who are given 2K to vote. But someone who has a 10K, do you think if you have a 50K on your pocket and someone is giving you 2K, change your mind and vote them, would you vote them? You wouldn't. So the same analogy that works with the stomach. If you have already put something in the stomach, when you're going to make another choice of what to put there, you have a firm ground. Even when you walk into a restaurant and you find, for me here, I don't eat food when there is no matoke. If there's no matoke, that restaurant, even they say we don't have matoke, I will walk away. But the likelihood is that if I went there and I'm very hungry, and they say we have rice and portion, chances are I will sit. Because I feel like taking another step outside to look for another restaurant, I will even collapse. I was just sitting and I would just say, Kali mumpe. And so, this is very important. Depend much on trying to ensure you set the default environment. However, willpower is also important. If you can, try to avoid. So, we have already talked about some of these benefits of a food pyramid, that it helps us to know that we need to balance. Because when you look at that pyramid the way it was, it shows us that some foods you need to eat them 2 to 3 times, 2 to 5 times a day. So it shows you that you need all, yeah? Because what is there is what you need to consume on every day. So it helps us to know that we need a balanced meal. Then of course, if you have like done it the way it is, then you do not have malnutrition. You are ably you will control obesity and other diseases. Somehow, it is going to teach us on portion control. Somehow, it will teach us on portion control and variety. Because if you know that I have to eat on everything on this pyramid, then that means you know that, okay, part of my plate, maybe this is going to take, this should take maybe 30%, this should take 20, this should take, no, this can take 40, then this one becomes 30, that is 70, then this one takes 40, this is 10, that becomes 80, then this one, this should be 15, then that's what, 85, then 10, then 5, right? Yeah. So it will help you to know that I can portion all foods to be included. Now, let's listen carefully on this. The food pyramid, like I mentioned, it has some challenges with it, right? So it is somehow oversimplifies what is very complex, because the nutrition advice, like I've said, it should be individualized. Now, when it is individualized, it means there are fine details you're looking out for every person. Yeah? Now, for it is somehow simplifying it for you, that just this, which may not be the case. Every individual has, at a particular health status they are in, at a particular age, at a particular physiology. When I say physiology, I mean someone, let's say for example, who is pregnant, the other pyramid may not be. You may not like use it on them. You must change certain things if they are pregnant, right? So it has that problem that it oversimplifies. You get it? Then portion size is really not clear when it comes to the pyramid. It's not clear in the sense that when you look at this, you do not know how much of this should I take. How much of this should I take? How much of this? Yes, you may put it like this, but you find maybe you may be taking 40% of this, but which is way beyond what you need for your particular body condition. Then this, we already mentioned it, that it doesn't reflect local diets and cultural foods. It doesn't. And remember, even when we are in the room here, we eat differently. We are from different cultural backgrounds. So depending on where you come from, we have different foods that we have as our staples. As one may have matoke as their staple, the other one has cassava as their staple, the other one has Irish potato, the other one has sweet potato, the other one has millet as their staple, which this pyramid does not bring out clearly, and what is very important. So in case you to use this pyramid, take note of that. There's what they call myth. That word myth means what people know about something and think is true, but when it is not true. Now, number one myth is that people think when they look at, like we saw on the pyramid, that here we have fats. We have fats and oils as at the top there. Someone may think eating fat is bad for your health. No, that's not true. But the truth is, there are healthy fats we can eat, which are very essential. However, you must eat them in moderation. You get it? Let me give you an example. Oil is very important in a car or in any vehicle, right? But the car may need small amounts of it compared as it may need what? Fuel. You get it? It doesn't mean that oil is not important. It is, but however, in its importance, it is needed in small amounts. So it's so as it is with fats and oils. The body needs them, but it needs them in small amount. Sources of good fats and oils, we mentioned them almost every time we are here. Nuts, avocado is one of them, a good source of oil. Then, carbohydrates should form the largest part of your diet. Now, like we saw at the base, it was showing us carbs. Now, carbs, much as it is showing us that the carbohydrates should be the part that anyone should consume in a bigger portion. Now, remember, it is only talking about carbohydrates, and then it mentions all of them. Yeah? What does that mean? It means, if let's say, from our culture, we depend on, let's say, maize, I may end up taking too much portion. And then at the end of the day, that too much portion becomes a disaster for me. Yeah? So it's not all about all those carbohydrates, especially for those which are refined. You get it? Refined or too much processed. Eating according to the pyramid guarantees a balanced diet. That may not be true. Eating according to this, that guarantees a balanced diet, that may not be true. Because like I've already told you, if we are talking about this group, let's say we're talking about this group of people, yeah? We are talking about this group of people. Or maybe even talk about 6 months to 24 months, that is 2 years, eh? Now, these are children who are still breastfeeding, but as well, they are eating other semi-solid or solid foods. Now, this group of children may not benefit from this kind of structure of a pyramid. You get it? Same thing with this age group. Yeah? So it may not mean that this age group, when they follow this, they are getting a balanced diet. So balanced diet can be according to an individual still, or according to a certain group of individuals. So that should be very important. The last one there, that the food pyramid is the best guide. That's not true. There is a new, and what we all now, I would say, would use, which is MyPlate. Now, MyPlate certainly can be the best guide we can use now. So, MyPlate brings out the plate, the way you're seeing it there. It brings out the portions very well. Much as this is also generalized, but it can fit for all adults. All adults can depend on that MyPlate. I can go ahead and separate it. Now, MyPlate, for it somehow brings out clearly portions. It brings out portions very well, as it emphasizes fruits and vegetables. That fruits and vegetables should form 50%. These can be fruits. These can be vegetables. Then here, we can have our carbohydrates. Then here we can have our proteins. This can fit for every individual, for every culture. Yeah? It can fit for every culture, it can fit for every national. Why? Because for it, if it tells you that you should have 25% of whatever you're going to eat should be carbohydrates, then there it doesn't matter. For you, if you're from Busoga, you're going to come and put your emboli here. If you're from the west, you put your matoke or central. What other common foods? If you're from West Nile, you put your cassava and stroke maize. Yeah? And it is 50% of whatever 25% of whatever you're going to choose, right? So if you come here and you've chosen a protein, if it is chicken, it is okay. Let it make the 25. If it is fish, that is okay. Yeah? Now, when it comes here, same thing. Depending on where you come from, the fruits which fruits are there, it is okay. Whether it is a mango, whether it is an orange, whether you're from Kampala and you can afford the berries, you can afford the apples, you can afford the kiwi fruit, you can afford the pomegranate, it is okay, for as long as it is a fruit. Same thing with the vegetables. If you are in the village, you can get a cabbage, you can get eggplant, and then for the town people, you have broccoli, you have cauliflower. It is okay. So this becomes our ideal. You can use this on almost all healthy. I will put that. Why do I have to say healthy? I will have to say healthy because if you meet someone who is, let's say, who has kidney disease, yeah? If you meet someone who has a kidney disease, this person may be limited not to eat any animal protein. For example, someone who has, there's what we call total kidney failure. Someone's kidney is almost shutting down, they are on dialysis. I will limit them from eating any animal protein. You get it? So that means when it comes here, you'll not tell them that eat any. Even when it comes to vegetables, there are those vegetables probably that are high in potassium, and this person, I don't want him to take in potassium. You get it? If someone maybe has ulcers, then there are fruits you're going to tell them don't eat. That's why I said a healthy individual. For as long as someone is healthy, doesn't have any other chronic illness that has dietary restrictions. You get it? There are those diseases that have dietary restrictions, and there are those that may not have dietary restrictions. So for as long as someone has a disease that has dietary restriction, then you don't just jump and give them this as a general. You must know the details of their condition. Then you can advise them, you can give them any nutrition advice. Yeah? But this is the ideal. It brings out, number one, portions clearly. Yes. Number two, it tackles the issue of variety, stroke balancing. Because when you use that, you have balanced 100%. Yeah? Portion size, you have controlled the portions 100%. Yes? And it even simplifies it very clearly. Anyone of us can understand that. True or false? Good. So we have mentioned that focuses on portion control and variety on every eating occasion. That should be applied every time you're going to eat, every time you're going to have your plate. Yes? And that answers the question many people say. Many people will ask you when you tell them that you have to eat 25% of fruits, veggies 25. Then they're like, will I get satisfied? People will be asking you that, will I get satisfied? You cannot first put in fruits, for example, before you have your lunch. When you see a plate written like that, yeah, it doesn't mean that when they serve you on a plate, everything should be piled as it is. No. You can decide to have, let's say, a fruit as what we call a starter. Yeah? You can have a fruit as a starter. What does that mean? That before they give you food to eat, you can have, let's say, a watermelon or a piece of pawpaw. You eat it as they are waiting to serve you your meat and rice. What does that mean? It means if you eat this watermelon, probably by the time they bring this other food, somehow you're already full. So if they were going to give you maybe, let's say, a portion of rice that is of this size, now they can give you this size because your stomach already has something that has occupied there. Same thing with any other fruit. It can be even a jackfruit. Before you eat, before they give you the other main meal, have a starter of a jackfruit. It can be yellow banana. Not saying that as they are bringing the other main food, then it should also be there. You can eat it as a starter. The other thing is you can even eat it as a dessert. What does that mean? They have served you food. Probably you feel like you didn't get satisfied. Then, after that food that you feel like you've not gotten satisfied, now you can jump on a yellow banana. It can be a pawpaw. It can be a watermelon. It can be a pineapple. Anything. For as long as it is a fruit or a vegetable or a salad. Such that if on the plate, physically these were not there, but in your mind, you have it there that I must, at the end of the day, have this composition. You get it? I've already explained this. Maybe to emphasize on this, that if you put that in action, it will, at the end of the day, improve your eating habits. Yeah? If you eat according to that health plate or my plate, it is going to help you improve the healthy eating habits. Then, of course, we can't emphasize this. Children, children, children. For me, when I see a child today, how they will be eating, how they will be behaving around food, I don't blame them. I don't. I will blame who? The parents. Because what you are exposed to is what you will know. Yeah? We all know that. What you're exposed to is what you will know. So, you are responsible for your children eating habits. Of course, this is very obvious, that if you use that my plate, automatically, you will have prevented almost 99% of NCDs, non-communicable diseases. You will have prevented most of them. Okay. In conclusion, we may not omit the food pyramid, right? But I've already told you it is a general tool. Yeah? It's a general tool. Therefore, you may not tailor it to individual. However, the other my plate, you can actually use it for individual. And only what you do, you just come and maneuver varieties. For example, you may leave the plate as it is. Let me take an example of a patient who has ulcers. Yeah? Someone who has ulcers, you'll give them this very plate, but you'll only come here and know that I don't have to give them. When it comes to fruits, I will not give them oranges. When it comes to fruits, I will not give them pineapple. When it comes to fruits, I will not give them lemon. But it will remain fruits, so you just substitute. You get it? So this can remain as it is. You just change bits of varieties. Yeah? For example, someone who is on weight management, you can use this as it is. Then you come here on proteins. You know that, okay, someone is on weight management, so I'm going to remove red meats, okay? And instead maintain fish, you get it? As a source of protein. Or chicken, for as long as they have prepared it appropriately and it is the right, it is a local chicken, or maybe layers, and maybe tell them to get off the physical fat, it will remain as it is. You get it? Same, you come here for carbohydrates. You're on someone who is on weight management. You tell them, okay, you're going to do away with processed grains, okay? But you tell them, okay, according to your culture, if you do cassava, do the yam, do the pumpkin, it remains as it is. You get it? You just only alter here on the varieties depending on the condition of a client. Contrary to the pyramid. You get it? So this becomes ideal to tailor when you're tailoring for individual. Much as the pyramid can be used for general nutritional teaching. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, our today's session ends there. However, let me see how many minutes we still have. Okay. From today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a few minutes for questions of those challenges that you meet in the field with your clients. And so I encourage you to put them down. Yeah? Maybe we're going to find someone who can be like a secretary for us to write them, such that by the time it is a Tuesday like this, maybe I have access to them, then we can quickly look through every scenario. Yeah? So that's what we are going to be doing. Today, we are going to welcome those questions. We go through them, right? Then for next Tuesday, I know you have communication channels, so they will tell you who probably could be registering those questions for us, such that by next Tuesday, immediately after the session, we can have time to look through those scenarios of, it could be a scenario, it could be a case that we can probably share together here. Maybe one or two people could learn from it as well. Yeah? So that's how we shall be handling it. So at this time, allow me welcome a few questions, then we can call it a day. We don't have questions? Yes, let's begin with the other lady.